Sorry, I deleted all the files you told me to delete. My job was to design and write software prototypes for individual high-value customers. If they liked it well enough, then a real software engineering team would build the real product. Occasionally, I would run the prototype for a few months while the customer evaluated if they wanted to buy the real project. Now these prototypes are not a lot of code, but they do run with a lot of data, even compressed. It can be a terabyte or more. Having done this work for years, I've accumulated a small disk farm of past projects, which can be very useful when a customer asks for something just like we did last year, but with a small change or two. The company resisted buying hard drives for this, but it saves me so much time. I ended up buying 1 or 2 a year myself until I accumulated about 10 of them. Figure over $1,000 worth of external drives. Then unexpectedly management changes. New management thinks they can replace old software guy with a cheaper new software grad, and I am laid off, with 2 weeks to train my replacement. Yes, it's blatant age discrimination, but impossible to fight. So I just went for a graceful transition to my next job. Except, I have $1,000 of personal disk drives with old customer data on them. Company insists that no ex-employees may take any company data off premises and all files must be deleted. I don't want to just leave the drives at the company, but they insist I must delete all data before taking them home. So I offer 1. They can buy them from me too. I will eventually use them for something else, but I can leave the data on them in case someone needs it. Not good enough. New manager insists I must delete all data and all backups before I remove the drives. Okay, that's what I do. 6 months later, I get a series of desperate phone calls. New software grad has been unable to build any new prototypes. Old customers are calling to get old prototypes updated, and new software grad has no idea how to do that. Executive VP is calling to ask what would it take to bring me back to do my old job. Sorry, I've got a new job now, and even if I didn't, I cannot just modify the old prototype because you insisted I delete all old copies of it. If I did want to modify it, I'd first have to recreate it from scratch. And that old series of 6 months apart data we collected is gone for good. No matter what. Sorry. You screwed yourselves exactly like I told you would happen. Hope whatever you saved by hiring a new grad to replace an actual experienced programmer was worth it. Workmate's partner was in this exact scenario. Training inadequate replacement. Rude emo adding insult to injury. Deleting all backups over his objections. Frantic kiss-up phone call 4 months later. What would it take to get you back? Quote, I'd consider it for outrageous eye-watering figure. A few futile negotiation attempts later, they actually agreed to his figure. At which point he said, thanks. As promised. I've now considered it. No. Many moons ago I worked as an engineering liaison to marketing, writing prototypes we would demo. During the BAFO phase of the proposal process, my company refused to give me access to the CM tool developers used since I was in the marketing department on the org chart. At a convention I was displaying some of my prototypes and a local competitor offered me nearly double to take the role of technical lead on one of their projects. Signed the contract, and handed in my 2-week notice. On my last day IT arrived to wipe my equipment since I was no longer an employee. I just smiled and handed them access. Same thing happened a few months later. Where is all the prototype code? Quote, it was on my computer since I had no CM access. Did IT back it up before wiping it? Quote, We can offer you a raise if you come back. Nope. Click. I still laugh when I think about it. On a side note, you guys don't keep your project files in source control? OMG, this reminds me of a somewhat similar circumstance. A SaaS company I used to work for was B2B, so businesses would purchase our software to help them run a financial side of their business. Because of US tax record laws, we guaranteed that we would keep customer data, even if they left us, for at least 7 years. In reality, we never hard deleted anyone's data, just archived it. Well, this small company owner leaves us and calls in to have all of his data deleted. Sorry, we can't do that. Haha, yeah, he escalated all the way up to our CEO. Our CEO was one smart cookie and had legal draw up a document saying that this guy was formally requesting a hard delete and under no circumstances would he be able to get it back. Well. 2 years later, guess who is going through a tax audit and needs this financial data to prove he wasn't embezzling or whatever? Ha. We happily sent him a copy of his delete request document and wiped our hands of him. Sucks to suck. My dude. What would it take to get you back on our team? Quote, well, for one, you can dissolve the worst management team that got you into this mess. Next, you can resign. Only then would I ever even begin to consider working for your cheap company again. Thank you for your time and consideration on this matter. Slightly diff, but I did audio work for a woman who had her own radio show and she left me hanging one day in the middle of a job. I messaged her a few times to no avail until about 6 months later when she sent me a rude and panicky email saying, "You had no right to delete all our files from Google Drive," etc., etc. Even though I would never do this on purpose, I panicked and thought maybe I had fucked up. I spent a half-hour tracking down the files on an external. I had moved house, only for another message to come through saying, "I apologize. It was my new hire." Well, fuck you for not even having the decency to tell me you got a new hire and just ghosting. And double fuck you for freaking out on me for something I didn't do. Lol, freelancing can be fun. I got discriminated for my age for the first time recently. I went through 6 interviews with this company, which was already a red flag. I aced everyone, of course, and even had their developers asking me questions in a couple. I then got an email from their HR department where they said they just didn't think I could keep up. The hilarious thing is their platform is built on 2 open source libraries in which I am a major contributor, built on a framework in which I am also a contributor. I am unsure where they thought I couldn't keep up. I can only assume it was my white hair. Hope whatever you saved by hiring a new grad to replace an actual experienced programmer was worth it. And I hope you said exactly that to them. What would it take to get you back? How much you make? Add a 0 and then we'll talk. I had a similar experience while working as a contractor. I was brought on to work on an open source platform, a Linux-based custom CMS for call center agents at a large firm. 6 months into the contract, they decide we have to integrate with a Microsoft LDAP service. I've never touched the thing before, but I give it a try. They give me some scuffed 14 GB VMware hard drive files to boot as the LDAP server instead of an actual integration. And I can't get these things to work. Of course, we have no actual source control or documentation either. I try to talk to the guy who made them and he responds to a total of 2 emails over 2 weeks. After those 2 weeks I get a call that I'm being let go from the contract because it's not a good Sign that I can't get the development environment running, never mind that I've single-handedly built 70% of their entire platform and demoed it to them 3 times along the way. So after the call is over, they send me an email giving me parting instructions. And one of the steps on the list is to delete all files related to my work immediately and that I have 24 hours to comply. Remember how I said we have no source control? Well, I follow the instructions to the letter. Format the encrypted drive I was keeping the project on. A week later, the project manager calls me up, telling me they have a Git server now and I need to upload my code. I say, "What are you talking about? You instructed me under threat of legal repercussions to delete those files last Tuesday." He just kinda sounds flabbergasted at that point. He tries to walk through not paying me out for my last month of work. And I say, no. I have that time billed and labeled out for each thing I did. It's not my responsibility to make sure you have the deliverables you explicitly instructed me to delete. I got my check on time and never heard from them again. So much pain for the want of $1,000 or so. Manglement at its best. I had a similar thing happen with a small architect firm. I had my own design firm, now retired, and had been designing and updating their site for about 5 years. At the end of the final year, they told me that I was charging too much for any changes to the site, even though I had given them tons of freebies. And they were going to get a younger, more hip designer that could do things faster and cheaper. They wanted me to give them all the files and delete what I had on my end. So, I sent a CD to them with all of their files. Basically what was online on their server anyway. Easily retrievable. And erased everything. Meaning, I erased all of the code and the build files. Layers and layers. For all of their online images as well. I told them to put the CD in a safe place and make sure to back it up with another one. Closed out that account. Moved on. About a year later, they called me in a panic saying that the new person screwed up their site. It was not running correctly and that they couldn't find the CD I sent them. No backup. And somehow this person also erased all of the old files on their server as well. So had nothing to start over with. Apparently she was doing a redesign on the fly and just writing over the old files without backing anything up. But they didn't like the redesign and wanted to put the old site back up until they could make a decision. But it was gone. Oops. Not my problem. Get your younger, faster, hip designer to figure it out. Folks. I'm out. Last time I checked. And this is years later. The old site is still up. Broken. The epitome of congratulations, you played yourself. How does an IT company refuse to keep internal backups for apps they wrote? Even simple cloud storage is so cheap that it's a no-brainer. I hope they lost all of their business. This, infuriatingly, happens in sales a lot. Oh yeah, we laid Jim off last week. You know Jim had all the proposals for the last 5 years on his computer and I assumed you've put them in a Dropbox so we can get at them, right? Quote. I think IT wiped his drive when he left as per policy. Fucking morons everywhere. The desire to immediately wipe drives and erase emails when someone leaves cost us, at GE, millions and millions of dollars. Now the smarter managers insist we use Box to back up our systems. Except some of us get told, oh no, you can't keep commercially sensitive docs on Box. I did learn in my time there to immediately, like within in a minute, grab IT sand, say, don't fucking wipe his, her box or drive. We need it, but then it would take at least a month for someone above to approve, me or others, getting access to their data because of privacy. Like WTF. We all work for the same company, there is no privacy. Also orphaned folders everywhere. Because Box needs an owner for folders and fucking IT would just orphan folders without reassigning a new owner so no one could get into them. You screwed yourselves exactly like I told you would happen. Hope whatever you saved by hiring a new grad to replace an actual experienced programmer was worth it. This would have been my email reply to them. You think hiring a professional is expensive? Try hiring an amateur. Aside from the scummy behavior, this is why employers should not only be willing to buy the tools you need, but should mandate it. Similar to me and my cell phone. A well-run company in my line of business will force you to use a company phone. This way they can force download of security certificates, retain client contacts on a device they own, etc. The cost of a cell phone is nothing for what they get. My company didn't do this and our previous bookkeeper was using a personal email. After she left, we had numerous vendors put us on credit hold because we weren't receiving invoices. Fun times. Offer to work as an external consultant on behalf of your current company and charge them an exorbitant amount of fees. Your boss would probably think very favorably of you if you can make them look good.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.